So guys, this is episode 1, first ever episode of Gameplug's new podcast, which we've aptly titled Plugged In. Today we went to the EB Expo. I'm fortunate enough to have been before. You guys both first time?
First time.
So
EB Expo virgins.
Yes.
no longer.
No longer.
We've had the arseholes truly ripped out.
What a way to ruin a beautiful day, Jamie.
So we saw lots of things. But first off, as newbies to the whole expo, how did you find things, Dan?
I thought it was going really good, and I was enjoying it. And then we'll talk about it later. But we got to play one game, which kind of put it over the top for me. But we'll talk about it later. But yeah, it was really, really good. I was really happy I got to go.
Okay, so
Alana, how did you find things?
I loved it. I've always wanted to go, and I've just never been able to. Yeah, and it was such a cool experience getting to play all these games that I've been looking forward to all year, and getting to play even some games that I haven't been looking forward to but are now on my radar because I've, gotten hands-on with them or even just seeing other people playing them. It was really cool.
Good, I'm pleased you both enjoyed it. We'll start at the start. So when we first got in there, what was the first game you played?
Oh, what was the first game we played? That was a long day.
What was the first game you played? You may have played something completely different to what we did.
That is a good question. Might need to refer to the list.
Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge. So, with Mirror's Edge, you didn't really get to play anything. It was a little underwhelming. The start of it was basically a presentation where they showed pre-alpha game footage, which everyone had already seen before, and at the end they showed an extended demo, which was at Gamescom only a couple of months ago. It was a bit in between, kind of just showed how with Mirror's Edge that there's 3 different types of enemies which you can encounter, and so you can't attack every enemy the same way as what you did in the first Mirror's Edge. The main thing they showed off mainly was that it's an open world as opposed to just a linear path that you're trying to take in the first person mode. Apart from that, yeah, it wasn't a good one to kick off the show with.
No, I left you to that on your own as we got in there. Something that we did all manage to grab hold of was Uncharted. So they were demoing a Thieves' End, second one.
Yes.
And it looked nice, but I'm actually less anticipative of it now. I think actually the last time we did a podcast together, us guys, I'd said that it was the thing that I was looking forward to most to get me into 4. But I can't handle it. I don't think it's my type of game at all. Just even 5 minutes playing it, you pick things up and you go, I can get this. I'm still just like, where's Lara? Like, that's my call for it.
Yeah, okay.
But for you, who's a player, did it feel different? Did it feel good?
It came all right back to me really quickly. It looks. It's this weird thing where when you think of old games, you're like, oh, I remember it looks so good, blah blah blah, and then when you go play older games, you think to yourself, this isn't as good as I remember. But when I was playing this today, I was like, oh, this feels as good as I remember it being. But it's not. It's obviously a higher frame rate and it's better resolution.
Yeah.
But I remember as soon as I started playing, I'm like, yep, you go there, you wait for the guys to go past. So it was just as I remembered it. It was really fluid. It wasn't buggy or anything at all. I think there was a strange. It's strange that they did Uncharted 2.
That's what I thought.
If they really wanted to show off how good looking the game was, you thought maybe they'd just show you Uncharted 1 and go, listen, this came out in 2007, now look what we've made it. And even the level was a bit, I know why they did it, because it had the kind of sneaky stealth in it, it had the action, it had the platforming, it had pretty much everything that you would use throughout the whole series. So I understand that, but it was out of context in a way for people that have never played these games as well. Because you're like, I don't know what's happening, where we are, why are we here.
When we first saw the area set up, I envisioned that they'd have maybe the 3 at the end were Uncharted, the 2 in the middle were Uncharted 2, and then the other 3 on the other side were maybe Uncharted 3.
Yeah.
Showcasing the whole thing, and like every single screen had Uncharted 2 on it. That for me doesn't smack of confidence. Why are they only choosing to show us one part of a trilogy? Do you know what I mean? But it's, listen, it is what it is. I'm not convinced. What about you, Alana? You're new to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the gameplay. There wasn't anything wrong with it, and I think if I played all of the games from 1 through to the series, I think I'd get really involved with the story and then come to love it that way. But like you said, there's no Lara, and if I'm going to play, a game where I'm an adventurer and an explorer, I want to be Lara Croft.
Exactly, we all do. So Dan, we'll leave that. You actually got to see Just Cause and Quantum Break as well. So starting with Just Cause, that's not far away now either. What did you think of that?
Yeah, so Just Cause, I got a little bit of hands-on with it. It didn't have anything to do with story. It basically had these different modes that you could play, where you would play as... it was basically showing off everything in Just Cause that you can do. So there was a mission where you basically were just wingsuiting down and you were just trying to hit the perfect mark in the circle. So it's like, what that one showed me was how big this map is going to be. It's going to be huge, this world. And I don't know how you're going to get from one into the other. And then the other one was just basically walk around with a bazooka with endless ammo and just destroy things as much as possible.
That's the one I played, the destruction mode.
Yeah.
And I got a pitifully low score because I got lost. I parachuted down into like a grassland area and there was nothing near me to blow up, and then I spent the whole minute and a half or however long it was just trying to get back to big towers and stuff that I could blow up.
Yeah, see the wingsuit one I like, the destruction one I was like, okay, yeah, this is... But we've seen destructible environments before, so that wasn't really impressing me. And then I moved on from it, so I then tried the other two.
That's my whole thing with the game, just in general. Like it
feels looks like Mad Max.
Yeah, you said that to me. A lot of people have been saying about it that it feels like an explosion simulator. People who managed to play it, and did you get that feeling? Do you think is there going to be depth in story, or is it just a sandbox?
Well, that's the thing. They don't even allude to story at all. It's just the modes about gameplay, and this is what you can do in this game.
You can do this if you want to do this kind of thing. Brilliant. So what about your other venture, which was Quantum Break?
Quantum Break. So this is an interesting one because I don't have Xbox One, but when Xbox were announcing their games, and Quantum Break was one of them, and they were saying, oh, there's a game in there, but you also watch a TV series as you play in between. Everyone's like, how does this work? And then they kind of went off that for a long time and didn't even talk about the TV side stuff. So everyone's like, is that still happening? So I went into, once again, it was another presentation, but this one actually showed a bit of the gameplay and how it works. And the use of time and the different powers are the use of time travel. So you can freeze enemies. In the middle, you can chuck a. It makes like you can make like a circle around yourself, so anyone shooting bullets at you, they freeze, and then you can run around and hit them. So they showed all these different ways to use time travel, and then they described how the TV show works in conjunction with the series. So you'll play as the main character Jack, who's played by Iceman from X-Men, Sean Ashton. Ashton.
Yeah.
Ashcroft.
And he was basically caught in a failed experiment when they were trying to create a time machine, and by that incident happening, he got these time travel powers. And what happens is you play through the section of the game, and towards the end, not necessarily as that character, but maybe a couple of other different characters, after that act, you get a choice, and you make either choice, and then you watch a 20-minute episode of the consequences of that choice. But they actually use the same actors who were doing the motion cap and everything as the characters that actually shot. So the bad guy in the show and in the game is the guy that plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones.
I remember seeing that.
So there was an episode, there was a quick cut of him in there, but they showed a full part of one of the choices, where as a girl, Irene, I think, you make a choice to either go along with what the monarch, the evil corporation, is doing, or you go against them. And at the end, spoilers, if you go against them, she ends up getting shot in the head. Right. And then the other way, she reads out this PR statement, which is meant to not help the protagonist at all. Right. So it just shows how the storytelling. So I think they said there was 4 episodes of the actual live action show, and there's 5 acts of the game. So it mainly helped me understand how this all works. So in terms of the gameplay looked fun. Though when I was watching it play, sometimes I didn't understand how they were managing to find their way through, because there are these times where there's a time rift happening and everything's shaking and moving, and you have to kind of time your way through so you don't get crushed by the time jumps.
Crushed by the time.
So you
crushing my time.
That part I wasn't so enlightened by.
Yeah.
But the way you use time in an offensive capacity, that was actually pretty cool to watch.
Cool. I'm indifferent about it. Obviously, it's been known about for so long now. It was announced when the Xbox One was announced, right? It was the first thing.
And that's what got me interested. And then just nothing.
Then just nothing radio science. The whole thing's been reworked because Xbox TV, or whatever the hell they were calling that brand, got shut down relatively quickly. But they've scored with, like, you've sold me having Littlefinger in it. Like, he's one of my favourite characters.
See, those guys initially, like when you see the old gameplay stuff, they've changed out the actors and everything to put them in. So they've gone through a whole rejig. But yeah, that side of it actually interests me, because this is a different way to play.
Yeah, I think if the game didn't have any of the sort of live action stuff or the playing as different characters to make choices, I'd be indifferent and I'd just, let it pass by, no big deal. But I think the way they're doing it and the way they're experimenting with narrative is actually going to get me interested and get me to play it, because it sounds like a really fun and inventive way to deliver a gameplay narrative to you.
The only risky thing I think about it is the story has to be compelling, because the last thing you want to do is play an act or play a couple of acts, and then you have to sit there and watch 20 minutes of an episode. I'm trying to get into the gameplay and you're stopping me from getting into it. You're slowing the momentum. But if it works and it flows right, then it won't be a problem. My drama guy that sat through Metal Gear Solid 4 and just got my drink and sat down and watched for 50 minutes.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to allude to Metal Gear, because their cut scenes are notoriously 20, 30 minutes long, or in some cases 50. So there is no big deal of playing you a 20-minute TV show, do you know what I mean? We've sat along through actual CG cutscenes. Yeah. I'm really interested by it. It'll either be another Alan Wake and get sort of that cult kind of acclaim, or it'll flop. And I think that they've got a new franchise on their hand if it's successful. Maybe even a yearly thing, do you know what I mean? Like, you think a TV series comes
in. Yeah, well, the TV series thing opens up the whole world of what they could do.
Yeah.
It's like convergence culture, bringing in different mediums to tell one story and promote one brand.
Yeah, and that creates you've got a platform then as opposed to a one-off, which is...
Still want to get my hands on it though. That's
the
thing.
So we all managed to play Tomb Raider.
Yes.
This was something all three of us actually went through, we went together, we played all together.
It's a group bonding experience, waiting in that line together.
Yeah, 55 minutes. It wasn't too bad, but fantastic. I think we all speak from the same page on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
We're all fans of the original reboot, which sounds like a silly sentence, but the reboot to Tomb Raider. I, fortunately enough, as I documented before, played the Definitive Edition. I never played the original, so playing it on the Xbox One, the Definitive Edition, it looked a lot prettier. It looked it's running in the same engine we played Rise of the Tomb Raider on today. It's gorgeous, and they carried that on. I'm intrigued by what's going on. Initially, just jumping through these hoops, and you're like, oh, they're coming. Who are they? You've hocked me there. Who are they? So I'm going to buy the game, I'm going to play it, I was going to do it anyway, but overall I was impressed. Alana, you really liked the reboot as well, so what are your thoughts on Rise of the Tomb Raider?
Yeah, the same. I mean, they hooked me in, and even I did a bit of exploring around the areas, and you could find some of the clues.
Artifacts and stuff.
And they talk about Day and they're coming and what have you done and stuff like that, and so that hooked me in as well. But even just the gameplay and the puzzle solving and just the little touches, like when Lara gets out of the water, she like wrings her hair out to get all the excess water out, and it's just.
That's good game design, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to all the little touches in this game that make you like fully just get into it. Yeah.
But we all came out of that game like from being in there with, admittedly surround sound headsets, we're all on an individual screen, but the immersion was difficult. Like when some guy comes over and taps you and goes, we need to get X people in there.
Yeah, and you walk out and it's like everything.
Yeah, you're a bit dazed and confused, like the level of immersion, and that's not done by. Yes, there's a level of the audio and the visual that does it, but it's the fact that the gameplay's pulled you in.
Yeah.
You're instantly you want to find out what's going on. You go looking for the mysteries. I did that as well. I was running around like that bottom sea floor kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just running around like what's around everywhere. And what did you think?
Yeah, but it was such a weird game to play in such a short period of time too, because there was one moment where you come out into an opening and you see the temple and all the rock,
and she's like beautiful.
And I was like, I just want to walk around and look at everything.
Like take my time
and
explore it.
Yeah, you want to explore it. And I started doing that because I kind of stuffed up at the beginning, and I'm like, I'm a bit behind, so I'm like, I really should get moved on so I can see as much as possible. But yeah, it was the gameplay was really solid. The movement that she had, it wasn't jarring or anything.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can't wait to see moments when you're properly in the light, because obviously Tomb Raider goes with the saying, but it's very dark in some places, and that's probably why I stopped exploring, because I'm like, it's so dark you can't see a lot of the stuff that's probably there. So I want to see more of the game when it's in the light, and to see, because they've put in so much effort into all this. I just want to see more of it.
Exactly. And what would be a final opinion on it not coming to PlayStation 4 at launch? For me, it was. There's something quite wrong about walking into something like a show floor and seeing Tomb Raider's name plastered all over an Xbox booth. It's just not expected. It's not norm. It's not the norm. I'd expected Lara to be dangling from a PlayStation banner as she has been for the last.
Yeah, but we know that. It's like that because PlayStation have their own thing now with Uncharted. Like they have their adventure trailer game.
Yeah.
And that always chops and changes. Like Call of Duty, it's the same things. Like we walked in, it was like, there's Call of Duty. It's like, man, that looks weird with this blue PlayStation just surrounding it,
plastered all over it.
So it didn't bother me, and I understand why it's like that. Why Tomb Raider, and I'll just play Tomb Raider next year. It's not.
You've got enough to tide you over. Any final thoughts on Tomb Raider?
One thing I'm really hoping to see is whether they've improved on, or at least kept the level, the quality of the fire.
Yeah.
Because in the original reboot, the fire was probably the best I've ever seen in a video game. It looked like real fire. It moved like real fire. It was sometimes I just kind of stood there looking at my torch.
Yeah.
So if they've even if they get the same level of quality, or if they improve upon it, I'm gonna love it.
Interesting to see how far what we played is into the game. Because there's a couple of moments when you can open the bricks up to let the water flow in. That wasn't obvious to me straight away that's where I had to go to bring the water in. And so I'm imagining that this is a little bit into the game where you've been doing this 100 times, so you don't need to be told where to go.
Yeah, I was quite confused by that. Have they taken I swear you used to be able to hit left trigger, I don't know what it is on PC, but you could pull it and it basically give you an indicator as to where you should be going.
They still have that.
That's R3. Oh, sorry. Clicking the right.
I couldn't find it because I got stuck with those. But I actually figured the walls out in the end. I was walking around the surface on the outside and then just whacked it. I saw the little X prompt come up and I was like, right, whack into that. But that's a good point as well. It did feel like it was maybe you've got to at least think you're 3 or 4 missions into the game maybe because Lara obviously knows who they are. We don't know who they are.
But she's still
figuring them out.
so.
But she knows this is an entity that's coming.
Yeah.
They're trying to do. I just hope it. A lot of it reminded me of Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, and that's concerning. I don't want it to be.
Don't tell everyone that.
But just do you know what I mean? Just to feel like they're coming, like it's a supernatural entity. And I know like a lot of Tomb Raiders dealt with supernatural-esque stuff before, but it's all from the raiding of tombs, like meeting spirits from deceased.
Well, I mean, we were trying to find their leader or something.
That's
from
right.
the
It's all
talking about the prophet that got killed in
Yeah.
that first little section. Like, did you see that? And I picked up some of the paper and stuff, and they're talking about it. So I'm like, I wonder where that's in. But
I'm very happy that's coming this year. I'm pretty impressed by that. So, Alana, I'll jump to something that you played. You played Battleborn.
I did.
And you seem to be enjoying yourself. You were quite engrossed when we managed to find you over there at their booth, and you were pretty involved.
Yeah, I was, at the end of the row of computers, and they were standing next to me, and it took me maybe like 5-10 minutes to realise that you were there. I was just like playing the game. I was in it. It's lots of fun. Way more fun than I was expecting it to be. It's kind of a little bit like Smite in that it's the like first-person MOBA type. You have your abilities, which were Q and E in this. And I was playing as a cool bow and arrow chick, and I had like mystical, magical arrows that caused like caustic damage and could pull up like a trap on the floor and then get people trapped in there and then unleash a volley of ricocheting arrows. And I was surprised at how easily I picked it all up and how quickly I was like chaining attacks together and learning the good order to do things and learning like the best way to attack people and the best way to move. It was really intuitive. The art style was kind of a weird mix between like cartoonish and realistic, but it's not my favourite, but it was nice. It looked good, and I think that the thing that I liked the most about the art style was that it wasn't overwhelming. Yeah. A lot of those games, you have so much just stuff going on, like your explosions, other people's powers, that I just kind of like lose track of what's going on screen, and I just end up like pressing buttons and hoping I don't die. But this, I was like, I could always keep track of what was going on and what was mine and what was other people's.
We were admiring your keyboard stance.
Yeah.
We were comparing it to a guy that was sat behind you, and he was all lazy and like going crazy. And you were solid. It was like spider's legs. Like you were going for it.
So how many people were in that session?
I think it was 5. It was 5 people. Yeah, and you don't play against other people, at least.
Because it didn't seem hectic or anything. Like there was things happening, but not.
Yeah, there were 5 people versus like waves of bots. And some of the fights got pretty insane, but it never got too crazy. And you could always keep track of what you were doing and what other people were doing, so you could always like go and revive someone if they needed help. I think because some of your teammates kind of glow, they have an outline to them when they get a certain distance away or when they call for help. So it's really easy to keep track of what's going on where.
Yeah, I actually sat down with it away from you guys, so you were sat playing, and I came into the back of the booth after we were watching you, and I said to the guy, I was like, can I hop on spawn with the controller? I played Smite, I was like, it's going to be there or thereabouts control-wise, I should just be able to hop in and play. But the sessions were full, so he was like, Luke, he's like, you're more than welcome to go just sit and play. So I sat on my own, and I noticed instantly, I was like, I don't suck this hard at video games, and I was getting bombarded, and he came up to me, he was like, this is designed for 5 people.
Yeah.
So it's, I agree with you, I sat and played 5 minutes, but it's got a Smite feel to it. It's colourful, but not overwhelmingly colourful.
Yeah.
I played a ton of Diablo 3 on console, and that gets colourful. When you think you've got 4 people and you just fire and torment levels are super high, like it's just a screen full of mess. MOBAs can get like that, and I was quite pleased with it as well. It's very controlled. I thought it was quite controlled. It'd be good. It's coming to next gen. It's coming to console. It's coming to PC. I believe they said February 16. I seem to believe.
Yeah.
So another one for early next year. So we all also managed to go play what I'm gonna suggest is probably most of your game of the show.
The highlight.
The highlight.
The highlight.
We all queued at the beginning of the second session for Battlefront, and with all the hearsay on the interwebs in the last week or so saying it's been broken and it's not a functioning game, it's not going to meet its deadline, it needs to go green in like 3 weeks, it's not going to get there. I think we all disagree.
Disagree.
The build we played was brilliant.
Now, and we need to preface the fact that it is a LAN, like it's a controlled...
It was a LAN environment.
Yeah, it's a controlled environment, so...
but still it was hooked to 32 players, right? So
38.
38 players? Like, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, like, as I talked about at the top of the show, I was having a good time at the show, and then when I got to play Battlefront, and to preface this, if you haven't heard any of the podcasts we've ever done, I don't play online games at all. I just don't get into them. I played the Call of Duty beta a few weeks ago, and it was fun, but I only played 2 or 3 sessions. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. This, I would be stuck on this for a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And there's only one map, and I would play that map for a long, long time.
I feel like there's a lot of secrets we didn't even begin to scratch the surface of. The way that it's all set up to control, ATs and, well, depending on which side that you're playing on, fly X-Wings in over the top, but there's precursors to doing those things. And there's got to be an efficient way to do it. Now you see games like that. So in the environment we were in, nobody took, well, as far as we know, and that's just some crazy people queuing repetitively for the game. But everybody was fresh to it. They'd not played it, and I love that about first-person shooters when nobody knows what's going on and everybody's just in and learning together at the same time. It's an even playing field. My problem with it is how quick is it going to become hardcore segregated, and you're not going to be able to jump in like we did today and have fun. You'd have to progress with it because I think the shooters could be in trouble. This fall, I think Halo's still going to have people playing Halo. Call of Duty's always going to have Call of Duty players. But a lot of those players that play those types of games and were maybe disappointed by Battlefield are going to be playing Battlefront because it handles the same. It handles exactly like Battlefield, but it's Star Wars got done. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And what did you find most impressive about it? What was the thing that hit home when you went, this is brilliant, this is why I came to do that?
The sound design.
Oh, yeah.
Like the sound of your blasters, the sound of the TIE fighters who like roared overhead as you were just running through the snowfields. But I think my favourite was when you put the shield up around yourself and you could hear your lasers or other people's lasers or like orbital strikes crashing down on the lasers, and it was just that perfect Star Wars.
It did sound it.
Because you played Imperial too. Yeah, I played Imperial.
I think we all played Imperial except for Jamie. Yeah.
What I like talking about the maps, like you talk about how you're afraid that hardcore players will get in and kind of maybe ruin the experience or whatnot, possibly. I actually have a different feeling because that map in particular, because you constantly have the AT-ATs moving towards the objective, and you as the Imperial forces are moving with him, or with it, so you're not using the same tactics every single time because the landscape changes. So there's not a lot of room to hide anywhere. Like I tried to duck down a couple of times and it was only
someone was picking you up,
and I could still get hit. So you can't just camp out. Yeah, you can't just camp out because the map is moving forward and you have to move with it.
It's never going to be a stalemate.
Yeah, and that's what I really liked moving forward. And then I just loved jumping in the TIE fighter and coming down and taking people out in the TIE fighter.
Although I immediately crashed when I hopped into a TIE fighter.
Yeah,
I was so excited.
I did too.
I immediately sped up and crashed.
Yeah, it's I thought I didn't manage to get into any kind of vehicles. I was treating it as a first-person shooter and just running around stacking kills. But I was overly impressed with it. I'd not given it any interest. I thought, right, I'll wait until it's in a bargain bucket where I can get it for $20, $30, something. But I couldn't hand on heart say I'm going to pre-order it first thing tomorrow. Like I want my day one and I want access to the beta because I think that'll be a better showing. Like we said, we played in a controlled environment. It's LAN. It wasn't buggy. No latency at all. Everything was on point. Put that on a server, and EA are notoriously bad for having bad servers. it'll be interesting to see, and you can always cancel a pre-order. But I don't think I envision myself doing that. So Alana, did you get to play Guitar Hero?
I did.
What's changed there?
So I'm not the biggest Guitar Hero fan, but even I know that they've drastically changed the control scheme. Instead of having the 5 buttons, they now have 6, and it's 2 rows of 3 buttons over each other. And on the screen, as you're playing them, the little icons will either be down arrows or up arrows.
Right.
And if they're down arrows, it's the bottom row of keys, and if they're up arrows, it's the top row of keys.
It's black and white.
Yeah, black and white as well. And it was hard to sort of wrap my fingers around and wrap my head around. But as an actual guitar player, I really like that because it's more realistic than just the 5 buttons. And even just as a gamer playing it, it seems a lot better. It seems like it's going to give you more control and also going to be more of a challenge at the same time. And it was a lot of fun to be able to coordinate the up and down and changing the buttons at the same time. And when I did manage to pull it off, it was really rewarding, and it made me feel more like a Guitar Hero.
Yeah, that intrigues me more than Rock Band. Though I think Rock Band will sell more and be more successful. I was always more intrigued about Guitar Hero because it's something different, and it was all let's see how it works. But I didn't get a chance to play it.
So we all played Dark Souls 3. I wasn't overly impressed. I played them before. I played Demon Souls. Demon Souls was brilliant. Played the first Dark Souls. It was good. Never got around to playing 2. Bloodborne's on my to play list. Apparently this is similar. I just think it moves a little bit too slowly. Like, be as hard as you want, but games don't move at that pace anymore. And for me, that's where they fell down. What did you think of it, Dan? Because we played it sort of one after each other. What are your thoughts?
So I've played a little bit of Dark Souls 2, and then playing this one. It's strange because it's a little bit faster, I feel, but I also think that's got to do with the higher frame rate and the resolution, how that all works. But it's not quite what I've seen with Bloodborne level.
Yeah.
It's still punishing. Like you'll come in, you'll attack one guy, and then move to the next section. You attack one guy, and then you go to the next section, and there are 5 guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing well.
Shit. Which I didn't get past. And then you have to start from the start every time. So I considering I don't generally play those types of games, I thought it was pretty good. It moved well. It wasn't buggy or anything like that. But yeah, I'm generally not a huge fan of playing those games anyway. So for what it was good. Still it didn't convince me to be able to play those type of games.
Yeah. I'm not sold. What about you, Alana? Have you played them?
I've never played a Dark Souls game before. Today was the first time ever, and it was way faster than I thought any of them were. And I'd heard that Dark Souls 3 was generally faster paced, like you moved faster and enemies attacked faster, but I still wasn't expecting, I just got obliterated because everyone just instantly swung their swords 5 times at me, and I was like,
I don't understand how it. So for me, like think of The Witcher, and you've got good 360 control of Geralt, right? In Metal Gear, you've got good 360 control of Snake. And Dark Souls, I feel like I'm only getting half of it. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's up, down, left, right, and sort of the crisscrosses.
Yeah,
There's no sort of fluid motion.
Yeah, a lot of the times I found that the camera was looking the other way at the enemy, even though I was trying to get the camera onto the enemy. It was just the movement was really shoddy, and the camera didn't follow my movements. And
yeah, like to go on to what you were saying about how sometimes when you play other action games, generally it tries to be kind to you, and it kind of clips you onto an enemy of the sort of direction you're facing.
Yeah.
This is like you need to be facing your enemy to be able to.
And you have to manually target that enemy too.
Yeah.
Like it's not something that you said the game's not helping. tilt you to it or focus in. You have to turn, and when you don't have full control over that turn, that's what makes it so punishing. Because I think if players thought of something and made, like most games, you think something, you make it happen, it happens. With Dark Souls, that didn't happen. You think, I want to turn, I need to turn it, but it's so slow to catch up, and it's just not. It's not fluid enough for me. Again,
it's a hard thing to criticise because this is the game. The whole series is.
I know that's what it's based around. It's supposed to be difficult. I get that. And
but I mean, there's a difference between difficult, like challenging difficult, and like difficult to play.
Yeah, which
like
I think
difficult to master, and then just difficult to control.
It's starting to get into that territory with it now. But like you say, it's not for everybody. It's got a very solid fan base, and those people want to play something.
I thought it looked.
It looked brilliant.
Yeah,
it's obviously running in Bloodborne's engine because that's not what the old games look like.
The section I played.
I don't know if they're using the same as Bloodborne were, because it's not the same people as Dark Souls and Bloodborne. It's not the same people.
It's the same studio.
Is it?
Yep. Okay. We played Cuphead.
I still don't understand what we did in that.
We shoot in a giant potato.
From like finger guns.
As 1930s cups with straws hanging out there.
Yeah.
One of my favourite things from E3. When I saw it at E3, I was like, this looks like the trippiest load of bollocks you could possibly want to play. And having actually had hands on with it, it's the trippiest load of bollocks you can want to play. It's absolutely, it's hilariously either good or bad. It's like that hilarious it's good, or it's so hilariously bad you still enjoy it anyway.
Yeah.
It feels like it's probably going to have a lot of layers to it. We saw someone else playing that was playing more of a platforming-esque part of it, whereas we were just, shooting a giant potato. And we couldn't
a
get past
potato
it.
that was spitting out rocks of dirt at us.
And then worms occasionally.
Yeah, and worms,
And the only way to do that is to jump over it and dodge it, but you've got such a small amount of space in that little area. So, but I was the same as you. I saw the person playing it, more wandering around and stuff.
Yeah, the platforming part. Like, give me a boss when I know how to at least fire a gun. I know there was a tutorial and we sort of ran through it, but I'm still excited for it. It's going to be a $20, $30 like indie game. On
it'll be a Xbox Gold at some stage.
Yeah, at some stage, but probably still something I'll buy. It's one of the things you just like. It's a Shovel Knight-esque thing. It's a Mega Man. It's difficult. It's challenging. It's a bit weird. Like it fall into that kind of genre for me, but I enjoyed it.
It's definitely something new, and I really appreciate
the art style,
wacky and just weird it was.
It's a 1930s cartoon it's based on, I think so. Yeah. So you managed to play quite a few games in the PlayStation booth as well. Some of the smaller games, the things that weren't really, the big target hit, miscues. What did you get to play?
So first one I played was the new Ratchet & Clank game, which is basically it's a remake of the first Ratchet & Clank game, but I think it's also meant to combine with the Ratchet & Clank movie that I think is coming out next year.
Yeah.
So it handled well as I thought a Ratchet & Clank game would. It's got nifty little weapons that you can use and
Inspector Gadget-esque stuff. I watched you play that and he starts flying shit out his hands. Like, is this what? Inspector Gadget.
These strange weapons, and you have a tether rope that you can use to pull yourself over some different things. And the enemies seem a little bit easy to beat, but I imagine it seemed like it was very early in the game.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable. I'm probably not the target demographic, but it played well.
Yeah.
As a game should.
In terms of a remake of a good, I still didn't watch you play it. It looks like not a Knack, because that'd be rude, because Knack flopped to hell, but aimed at that audience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a Crash Bandicoot. It's a Ratchet & Clank. It's a Ratchet & Clank game.
Yeah.
What else did you get to see? You got to see a couple of the little games while you were...
Yeah, so I got to play a couple of games one that I'd heard about before, but I'd never seen the gameplay properly of, and another game I just hadn't heard about. So one was Alien Nation, who I knew that these are the guys that did Dead Nation, which is basically just a twin-stick shooter. Dead Nation was about fighting zombies. This one is about fighting these Aliens, but I was surprised at how well this game handled in terms of just where, when I played Dead Nation a couple of times, I was always over-committing a little bit and not aiming directly at the enemies. And I remember that happening a lot with Alien Nation. It was just pinpoint wherever I wanted to fire, and it was easier to switch between the different weapons, from a shotgun to a minigun to...
Were they on different platforms? Was Dead Nation PS3?
I played it on PS4 when they brought it over. I think it was on PS3 as well.
Right. So it was. I'm just thinking of the precision that you were saying.
Yeah. But I think that was a clear practice for them, bringing it to PS4 and then making this game. It looked really great. The character models, like as I was saying, it's really fluid, and it surprised me as twin stick shooters go.
Good.
And the last one I played was Shadow of the Beast, and this one really surprised me. You kind of play as this monster. It's a 2D side-scroller game, but it's got the violence of what a God of War game would have. And the basic premise is that you just need to start bringing in combos, and then when you bring in enough combos and enough damage, you basically go into rage mode. You go into rage mode, and if you're quick enough, doing like a quick time event, but direct in the direction of where the enemies are, the left or right, and if you time it right, you can get this kill streak going on, and you just keep murdering things left and right and going. But it's the way that the sound, the audio design, like just hearing everything impact, and it was just so rewarding, everything that you were doing. And then I managed to finish the demo, which the guy I was there with said there have been people here for 40 minutes and not finished it in this afternoon's shift. And I'm like, awesome. But it was really rewarding, and I was just surprised I hadn't heard of that game. So that's one to look out for.
I definitely think it started out as something else. I've got a niggling feeling about it. We'll look into it later on. But
and it's a lot prettier than you explore that I expected it to be, because it's a lot. It's on a deserted, just a wasteland. So, but the way the sun shines off the sand, and then you fight the enemies, and it's just this brutal game with this beautiful background.
They work quite well usually, those types of things. So it'd be interesting to see any dates or anything on it when it was out, or is it just a...
Well, as I said, this is the first time I'd seen it, so they didn't.
Yeah, there wasn't something plastered across the top saying
no.
Soon.
But look out for that one.
Cool. And you dabbled with Mad Max as well, but we don't really need to dawn on that. It was more I wanted to ask you about. So you played that on on Games portable console.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting concept, and if people don't know, it's a screen that folds into a backpack that you can slide your console into. They're expensive, but you were quite impressed. You seemed quite taken when we were sat there. You were like, it seemed to do something for you as a player. It didn't really do much for me, but that's what I wanted to touch on. What impressed you so much about it?
Well, as someone that a lot of the time I'm moving from where I live, I'm going back to my hometown or going to a friend's place and carrying the PlayStation with me, having to put it in my backpack or something like that. It just really interested me to see this thing where it's essentially something you can carry around, and it has the monitor there with you, and you can essentially play it wherever you want. All you got to do is open it up, and it's already got the cords there for you to the HDMI and the power supply. And then it depends on the model, but you can get 15-inch or a 19-inch screen, and it played really well. I know it was a cheaper version of a control, one of those, the wired ones, where it was sort of the shape of an Xbox 360 control and had all the layout of it. But that particular game obviously it could work on a PlayStation or whatnot.
So that was interesting.
It was just something to. It honestly made me really consider it. No, I don't need that right now.
Yeah. I could do with it, but no, I don't really. I get what you're saying. So that obviously slides us into a lot of what we saw today was storefronts. It was people showing off peripherals. It was it was a merchandise fan fest, right? There actually seemed to be more manufacturers there than there were game developers. There was a ton of hardware. So there was Logitech were there. They've always got quite a huge booth. Plantronics were there. Astro were there. Who didn't? Raze didn't really have a presence. They were there. They had that tiny little box.
They had a tiny, like a tiny
and then like
stand
sort
with
of
some keyboards.
two of their keyboards up on with some guy. I think that was by Street Fighter 5.
Steel
Turtle Beach
Series
as well.
and
They
Roadcat were there.
Yeah, the PC ones were there.
Origin.
Yep, Origin were there. Who else was there? MSI were there as well. They were in the
I didn't
corner.
see them.
I think they were in the corner too. So there was a lot of, especially in terms of PC hardware.
Yeah.
Tons and tons and tons of stuff. The usual sort of pop-up anime kind of stores were there as well. Buy Japanese DVDs and things if that's the kind of thing you were into. We spent some time with Astro, didn't we? We talked to Astro for a while.
Yeah, talked to him for a little bit.
Trying to make them convince me why I needed the new head. I was playing with them a little bit because I knew enough about it to know what they needed to tell me. They tried their hardest to make the sell, but yeah, the new mix amps are fully digital. There's no analog parts, so that should give full digital 7.1, which is whilst it's not as natural as analog is, it should give a crisper sound and it's a deeper and richer sound. Which, to be fair, like I said to you when I put them on, I was playing Witcher, so it's something that I played on my own, and I was like, all right,
was The Witcher there?
Yeah, it was.
I went the whole day without playing The Witcher.
It was on like a tablet or something, wasn't it? It was on like this really, really small screen control, and then I had this big headset on. It was a weird sound, but I could definitely tell the sound difference.
I'm proud of you that you didn't buy them. Well done.
They're not on sale. They don't have on sale.
I'm proud that you didn't try to steal a set.
I didn't find them as noise cancelling as some of the other headsets we tried on during the day, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just...
Where we were stood right next to like booming music.
Yeah, plus.
Basically, headsets are my preference, aren't they? I do prefer Astro over most.
Yeah. I play the TV turned up really loud.
I'm still on the TV, bro. So the EB Megastore was back in force. You guys obviously can't compare it to the last couple of years, but I joked with one of the cashiers that the whole budget for this year's event had gone into the EB Megastore because why they needed smoke and curtains and all the shebang, they didn't just open the goddamn store, put the rest of the money into finding exhibitors who want to come to Australia, because that lacked a lot for me this year. There was less than the last 2 years. It should have, in theory, it means, there's not as much for people to see, people will get around it quicker, but it's not. It's the people queue for things for longer. I don't think we looked at one of the big releases that had a less than 2 hour queue, right? It was just silly.
Even Battlefront, which I was so excited for, I just waited until
I was prepared
not to play that if the queues were insane.
Well, we did that. We did it with Halo, didn't we?
Yeah.
And Rainbow Six, obviously, because the beta's already out.
The Division.
The Division.
Black Ops, we played a few weeks ago on the beta.
So there's no need to sit in queue for that. But yeah, the store wound me up. It seemed to be very, very geared towards merchants this year. Like people trying to sell you stuff here, there and everywhere. So obviously Zing is EB's pop culture thing now, and it had its own store within the store. In terms of what it had to offer, I love waiting for the Expo because you can get collector's editions and stuff, and they're dirt cheap. Hence Pagan Min, who also happens to have a little secret compartment in his rear, which does have a little message inside of it.
Some words of wisdom.
Some words of wisdom. I can't remember what the words of wisdom were, so this is pretty good.
You don't know yourself.
Until you fought a snow leopard with a knife.
Something along those lines. So one cannot know his true self until he's fought a snow leopard with a knife. But point being, this guy retailed at $149.99 when the edition came out. It's a game that I've not played.
Yeah, when it came out, yeah.
And I picked it up for $46. Game, limited edition content.
Well, that was probably the best deal in there, though.
I think it was. So when we got there relatively early, and they sold out PlayStation 4 copies. They had 2 Xbox ones left after I got that one, and they did have a few PC left. I think they probably have more. They had a lot of collector's stuff for PC. So they had the Witcher collector's edition, which you already purchased, but you could have saved $100 if you'd waited.
So buying another one, a second one. Yeah, just have around the house.
Just have 2 Geralts around the house.
And you can never have too much Geralt.
Touche. The Mortal Kombat one wasn't too bad, but I feel like the game's lost enough of its
The
track.
statue was cool.
The Scorpion one.
I mean, that's the only part of the entire edition that I care about, is the statue.
Yeah, so that was about $64, and again, that was another sort of $149.99 kind of thing. So there wasn't overly an abundance of games in the store, really. I didn't feel like trying to went, there's tons of games. There was a lot of peripherals, there was a lot of keyboards, headsets, mouses, whatevs.
That thing.
Yeah, I use a controller, it doesn't matter. And then the pop culture stuff. So it's not something that was really massive steals, other than Pagan Min, and I came home with it. So that's my swag for the day. Did either of you guys pick anything nice up?
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren t-shirt.
Kylo Ren got jumped in as well. But yeah, there wasn't anything I was really willing to fork out money for.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Whereas in previous years I'd be like, I don't have enough money to buy everything I want. This year I was like trying to actively spend money. Later I bought a lot of t-shirts and the game and stuff, but it wasn't as impressive as it has been in previous years. But what are you going to do? It can't be the same every year, and I'm well aware of that. I said to you guys already before the whole event, like I feel like this year's been a bit of a transition year anyway. So last year there was huge launches. There was things that people were still waiting to play the real next gen games. You know, Arkham was there last year. Metal Gear Solid was there. I think it was Ground Zeroes, but Metal Gear Solid was there. Like these games that have now come out and been done, they weren't there. And as you alluded to about Black Ops, we played the beta a few weeks ago. I'm not going to queue for 2.5 hours to play it. Rainbow Six, its beta's out before the end of the year.
And even Battlefront.
Battlefront's out.
If we hadn't been able to play it, that's no big deal because
we can beta it on the
beta starts.
We just happened to get in there early on that second go.
On the second session, but that's what I mean, and that's why I think, Alana, I mentioned to you halfway through the day, I think this event needs to be earlier in the year now.
It does.
It can't suffice being at this time of year. The launch year for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 was by far the busiest and most hectic year I've seen. Because it was new consoles. Like, you couldn't get into the booths, there were queues for booths, and everybody was there, developers were there pushing launch titles and stuff, and there was free stuff flying around. The pop culture lot had the Game of Thrones chair there, and Superman, Man of Steel outfit and things like it felt more, like not in terms of quality, because I think a lot of the games I've played today have been better than a lot of demos of stuff that I've played before, but just in terms of sheer volume. But I'm pleased we got to see what we did. I didn't manage to get around to playing WWE 2K16. That's the only thing I didn't manage to get over to play.
Yeah,
I'm not overly bothered. It's out in a few weeks as well. But
well, it was the same. So I also played NBA 2K, which if you pre-order it, you get 7 days early. So I've already had it for a couple of days and played it. So I was like, there's no interest.
There's no value to it.
I also played Homefront as well. There's a reason why that game was hidden off to the side.
I didn't even find it there.
Yep, it was near the Street Fighter, and it's just within the first 10 seconds of play, there was 3 glitches happening. I'm like, oh, this isn't a good start. I could have got through that whole demo and not fired a shot. I did on occasion just to see how it fired and how it handled. The sound design for the gun was really good. Like you felt it when it fired, and I was like, oh man,
yeah.
Especially with the headphones on. But everything apart from it happened, I was like, this is not enjoyable. And I finished the demo, I went, well, okay. And then I just walked away.
Play that again.
Yeah.
Alana, was there anything you didn't get round to that you wish you had?
I wish I'd been able to play The Division, but the lines were just way too long. I wasn't going to wait for that.
Yeah. A beta coming before the end of the year.
Yeah. I wish I'd gotten to play more of Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy with what I did get to play.
Did they not tell you that you'd got too far and you needed to stop now?
Yeah, because you hit the cutscene. I was like,
I did. I got further than either of these guys. The guy who came around tapping us all on the shoulder to tell us we had to leave, he was like, you got pretty far, well done. But yeah, I think it was just, like, I enjoyed it so much that I wanted more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but aside from that, I saw everything that I wanted to see.
You might want to pause.
Grab the remote. She needs one as well.
What do we need to push?
I'm pleased you both got to see most of what you wanted to get done. I did as well. So I wanted to play WWE 2K16 because I told you guys the story. I played 2K15 last year and was basically arguing with the promoter guy that it was moving at 20 frames a second, and he was telling me that it was not moving at 20 frames a second. I was like, mate, get your eyes sorted, that's moving at that. But from what we saw people playing when we walked around, it looked in a lot better shape than last year. That's the only thing I missed. I'd have liked to have played the Division as well, but I'm not queuing for 4 hours. Fallout 4 was a bit of a funny one. They had Bethesda had a big presence, but it was more of a press conference recap. So seeing people sort of posting out like they were sat in the Bethesda sort of talk about Fallout, and they showed Doom, and they showed a couple of different bits like what they've got coming, and we learned, thank God, through Lauren, one of our writers, who told us her partner was working at the Expo, and it was only a video. It wasn't hands-on, so people were queuing for 4 hours to watch a video.
I would have been
that was a bit underhanded. That would have ruined my day if I'd have spent all that time and I don't even get to play it. So pleased we didn't fall into that trap.
It was 3 hour wait, and no joke. Like Battlefront, there was generally a sign that said, if you're at this point, it's 2 hours, and Call of Duty was like that. Battlefront was like that. The Division, and that probably wasn't. It was a little bit shorter, but not, still a long wait. Fallout was.
It was round the block. It was round the back.
It was a 3 hour wait.
Wanted to see Fallout, and
it's still very much. I think it's the last thing people are holding on to go. This has been the game of the year. That's the last thing to come out. I think people are going to look at that as. I was happy with everything I saw there. I got absolutely zero complaints. No weird big tournaments this year, which was quite disappointing. Like last year, they had the big League of Legends tournament. There was weird sort of like little LAN events going on, playing Street Fighter and stuff. We saw out of time and said that there was a Battlefield Hardline one set up, I think.
But that was more also them just showing off.
They were showing off the Origin equipment, right? They were sponsored by Battlefield, so I'm happy. I've had a really good day. It's now pushing 11 o'clock. We've had an incredibly long day, guys. But as much as you need to do these things, it's always better to sit down and talk about it straight away. It's fresh in the brain. We can recap on things. We'll have articles and things going live from everybody, and seeing different things, sort of encapsulating what they enjoyed about the day. We'll get those up soon. We'll have more podcasts coming as soon as we can make them. Probably more geared towards audio as you travel back to Melbourne tomorrow.
Yes.
But yeah, we've got a lot we want to talk about. We're back with a bang. We thought we'd do the first one for the EB Expo. I'm pleased we waited, and the first episode is from the Expo. We've all been together all day, we've had a good time. Played a lot of games, drank some beverages, although you look to have run out, so we need to hurry up and wrap this up. She's gone. She's voluntarily gone. Brilliant. Well, thank you anybody who watched. Thank you for coming today and for staying and doing this. Same for you. Thank you for flying here.
Yeah, that's big.
That's a big statement. I hope you both really took a lot out of it.
Worth it.
Good day.
It's a good day.
Very good day. And we will be back when we're back.